All right, so I got a question on my little TikToks about how do I, as a coach or a consultant or some type of expert giving people advice, they said, we're just getting started up and we don't even know how to show our content to people. Like, how do you show them what you're doing? And the best thing to do is what I'm doing right now, kind of like just showing them what you do by doing it. So the best ways to create content that I have found and that others have found and discovered as well is just have somebody interview you, asking you questions about things that you know about so people can see if you know what you're talking about. You could just document your training, which is kind of like what I'm doing now. Or if I was like working on my computer and talking with a client or something like that, I would just do that. I would just, have my phone set up and just interviewing, it would be looking at me while I'm doing my thing. Or you could answer questions. So one thing that I did is I just went to my computer and I typed in, content marketing frequently asked questions, and I found like hundreds of questions. So I can just answer those one at a time. Those become Reels, those become short form YouTube, those become TikToks, those become Facebook. It just becomes content. And then you can demonstrate your solution. So you could just show like how you help people. If you say that you help them do, video marketing, just show them how you do it. You can just give it to them. And let me tell you something. I have literally shown the intricacies, the tiniest little, most like perfect pieces of everything that I do, right? I mean, I literally just give them the actual answer, like things that I charge $10,000 for, or $6,000 for. I literally just show it verbatim in a video, and people still can't figure it out because people need more than just the answer. They need support. You've got to give them the blueprint. They've got to have the ambition. They've got to have the drive, or you can't help them. And you can't give that to anybody either, right? They can learn how to get that way, but you can't give it to them. It's something they got to discover in themselves. But if they have that, you give them the blueprint, then you've got to be there to support them. That's the great thing about what's going on right now. But I want to show you a little trick here that will save you so much time when you're creating content, because we've been creating content and frankly, it does so much better than our advertising ever did, to a point where we're like, let's just dive all into this, like almost like over 80%, like 90% here, 10% in advertising, for two reasons. Number one, the kind of responses we're getting from just providing value and just giving away our secrets, the types of responses are ridiculous. Like when I was running ads, yeah, my calendar gets filled up, but when I'm doing content like I'm doing right now, just giving away the secrets, you know what's amazing? People are just literally emailing me, how much for you to consult with me? How much for this? How much for that? There's no talking on the phone. There's no sales pitch. It's like, how much is it? I want it right now. So and I haven't done a ton of it, been doing this for a long time, and it's probably the biggest regret I have is not just like documenting my journey more. So here is the best thing that I have found in terms of like taking content, batching it, and actually taking, one effort and turning it into an exponential amount of value that you're giving to the marketplace. Because in the morning, I've been riding my mountain bike and I've been listening to this audiobook, and it's the Influence by Robert Cialdini or whatever. One of the things that he said was the most powerful, influential lever when you are doing anything with anyone, no matter what it is, not just business, but life, is the reciprocity factor. He said it's ingrained in us deeply, and he goes, if you just give away value and give away value, subliminally or well known, the person is just going to feel like they need to reciprocate with you and give back to you. And I'll tell you what, just doing the thing, it has been the most powerful lever that we've just overlooked. So I strongly advise you to look into that and do that. But here's how we've been taking content and creating great content that is real content, not the like put on content. Where you're like, here's 10 things about blah. Those are good. And I would do those things, but this stuff seems to work better. So here's what you would do. So let's say you've got a topic, all right? Let's say that you went online and you went and searched frequently asked questions about dog training, or frequently asked questions about how to be a better tennis player, or frequently asked questions about how to ride a bike, or how to run faster, or how to lift weight, whatever it is that you consult, real estate, it doesn't matter what it is, info products, services, bananas, boomerangs, it doesn't matter what you're selling, okay? Look up the frequently asked questions about said topic, and then do a piece of content on it. Now, here's the trick. If you want to get a bunch of little pieces of content that have impact, here's what you want to do. You could be like, here are the 7 most frequently asked questions about X, okay? So you can fill in X with your topic, your service, your thing. This number can also be, you can change this, okay? 7's my favorite number, so that's why it always ends up on something. But this can be a whatever too. So X number of frequently asked questions about this. And this needs to be a hot topic that people are looking for. Why? Because you're doing this for a few reasons. Number one, you want to show people that you know your stuff. Number two, though, is why would you not want to talk about something people want to hear about? Because here's the trick, and this is where I messed up in sales in the beginning, was this. I tried to show everybody what they need, which they do need. But people don't buy what they need. People buy what they want, and then you can give them what they need. So you need to lead in with what people want. People always say, oh, those headlines about how to make bazillions of dollars in 5 seconds, blah, blah, blah. Those don't, blah, blah, whatever. People opt in all the time. I wouldn't use them, but that's what you want. But then when you get into the thing and I start showing you what you need, that's where you separate the people, okay? It's why we do a call, because you got to be able to vet those people out. The ones that want to get rich quick, there is no get rich quick, period. I used to hear all those stories about like, oh, you know, you'll be doing something and then all of a sudden you like blow up. Like I've been doing stuff since 2007. I've been doing online marketing since 2007. It took me like 10 freaking years to finally make it. and I've not even made it I'm not even at the tip of making it in my world, but I made it in the sense that I got over that next hump and people are like, oh man, you're so lucky, you blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, no, this has sucked ass. But I just kept doing it because I love it, right? So just when you're doing the thing, make sure that you realize that there's no better time to plant a tree than now. And when I'm talking about creating content, you're planting seeds. But the cool thing is, when you plant an apple seed, you don't just get back one apple, and you don't just get back one seed. When you plant that apple tree, understand that it's gonna grow, and if you take care of that damn thing and you keep feeding it, it grows and grows and you get shade from it. You could cut a limb off and build a chair out of it. You can take all the apples that come from it that each have 5 or 6 seeds in them and plant those, and now you have another tree with all these apples with seeds. So just think about it like that way, because I didn't, and I want you to kind of think about that. So how do you really nail it? X way, or here, let's just play for real, okay? So 7 frequently asked questions about, let's say, content marketing, okay? So what I would do is I'm coming up with those 7 things, all right? And I'm just going to literally list them out and I'm gonna talk about them in order. Hey, here, when you start the video, you're like, hey, here's 7 things I wanna talk to you about that everybody's asking about content marketing. So at the end, the 7th one is my favorite one. And I put it at the end because I want you to stay till the end and watch it. They'll be like, oh, you know. So you come in here and you do these 7 things, but here's what happens, all right? When you do this, a couple of things happen. Number one, people go, oh, this guy actually knows what he's talking about. So your authority goes up. Number two, you have 7 short form pieces of content, because each one of these can turn into a TikTok. It can turn into Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, long form YouTubes, because each one of these could also be a long form or it could be a short form. This whole thing is a long form. Wow. Okay. But each one of these, or you could couple it, put a couple together. But if you really think about it, it's not hard. You just, when you do things, do them in sets where you can exponentially grow. Like from one push, you get all these things that come out of it. It's like you plant one apple, but you get a whole bunch of apples back that have seeds in them to plant a whole bunch of trees that have, like if you plant one sunflower seed, you don't get one sunflower seed back. You get 144 sunflower seeds. And if you plant all 144 of those, you get 144 times 144, okay? So it doesn't grow like this. Like when you start doing content, it doesn't just go like like 1, 1, 1, 1. You plant it and you water that thing and it just does this and then it's like, and then you can't stop it, right? Like, have you ever seen weeds get wild in a garden? Once that one shakes its thing and all those seeds fall, it's like boom, and you're like, God, I can't even stop this thing. That's what happens with the content. Don't regret it like I did. Make sure that you get out there and do it. And here's all the people going, but I don't know what to do content about. Everywhere on the internet, you can literally go and say, what are the most frequently asked questions about X? Find the hottest topics or the ones you know the most about, the ones that people are like commenting on the most, and cover those topics. I had a guy comment the other day on my TikTok. He goes, oh man, that stuff about the funnels, that's old news. Old news to who? Old news to who? I mean, seriously, like, I talk to people every single day that have been in business forever and they're listening to all the people. They even tell me, oh, I listen to Russell Brunson and all this stuff. What is a funnel? I'm like, you listen to Russell Brunson. Click funnels, right? So it's like, just, you know, you have to realize, and I fell for this too. I used to think things were saturated. There are billions of people on the planet. Billions of people, okay? So don't let the gray hairs fool you out there. Just stay true to what you know and help people. And if you provide value, they will reciprocate. It's without a doubt. So listen, if you have any questions about this, please put it down in the comments. Let me know. But take your long form, cover some really good topics that people are asking about. Just go find these. Another great place to look is in reviews. So if you go to, let's say, your competitor's reviews, in every review section, there's good reviews and there's bad reviews and there's those middle reviews, right? Go to the top reviews and you'll hear what they want to hear more about. Go to the bad reviews and you'll hear about what they didn't hear that they wanted to hear. And then you can do content over that, and you can just simply, here's the hook. Everybody's like, well, what's the hook? How do you hook? Hey, the other day, this is how you start it out. Hey, the other day, I was reading some reviews and I seen a lot of people that were wanting to know about, let's say, content marketing, but they weren't sure how to create the hook. So in this video, I'm going to cover the 7 frequently most asked questions about creating hooks and in content. And I'm going to go through all that, and you're going to love number 6. So you hook them to the end, and then you kind of want to, like, I can show you here. When you do the content thing, here's kind of the framework that I found works the best for me, and that's helped us make a lot in sales, and it's kind of effortless for me. Where's that? Is that one sheet in here? I think I might have thrown it away. I've got this. Here, this will work. Is it laying in here? Well, I threw the damn thing away. Okay. So the way I like to go about it is like this. In most of the content, I always try to hook, or what I'll do is like ask a question, okay? Have you ever wondered about this, you know? And then right after I do that, I want to like lead in with some kind of like, how did I, relate? So hook, and then try to just relate in some way, shape, or form, all right? Like, how can I relate, okay? Have you ever wanted to know how to ride a bike faster? I wanted to know this because at one time I was riding with some friends and like they all left me, and I was going as hard as I could and they all left, and I wanted to figure out how to ride faster. Now you just related, okay? They're like, all right, I feel that way. I get that whole feel, felt, found thing. Then what you like to do is just realize this with people, okay? There's always like 3 huge barriers that people have to get through, which is internal. I got this from Expert Secrets, Russell Brunson, okay? There's internal, there's external, and vehicle. So people have this internal belief all the time, like, oh yeah, that's cool and everything, but I can't do that because I don't believe I can do that. So you always have to squash that one, and you always have to recognize that one, okay? The next one is external. They always think there's something outside. Well, I don't got the time, or I live in this neighborhood, or I've got this thing or that thing that doesn't allow me to do that. So you have to address that, squash it, and then rebuild it so that they can say, oh, I thought that was something I couldn't do because of that, but actually I can. The next one is the thing that you sell, or the vehicle. They don't believe what you're talking about. So the best way to squash that one is just show it to them. You could have the most important people on the planet going, yeah, Mike, he can fly. Literally, he can walk outside his house and fly. And you know people can't fly. So you'd be like, yeah, but that's like the president or the queen or the king said that he could fly. So I mean, they're pretty credible. He could, but there's still that essence of like, A lot of people are like, well, show tons of testimonials of saying Mike can fly. Okay, well, you're going to get some people, but if you really want to crush it, you don't need a testimonial and you don't need some credible figure to tell you stuff. Those things will help. But the best thing I could do is say, hey guys, watch this. On Friday at 10 o'clock in the morning, meet me over here. I'm going to fly. And you get over there and you're like, you guys watching? And off you go. That's how you prove it. So how do you do that? Just demonstrate your thing. Just demonstrate it working. You don't think content marketing works? You're watching this right now. That's demonstrating. It's working. So once you realize in your content, you got to knock these down. I'm always saying in here, I have to, after I relate with them, I'm just bringing up these 3 things. This is just regular content, okay? I've done it with you multiple times throughout this, okay? And it's so subtle and so quick, you don't quite recognize it. But if you go back and listen to this again, you'll definitely recognize it. Once I know that I'm talking about these, then it's the good old-fashioned thing like this, okay? Problem, agitate, solve. So, the problem with a lot of people is they don't think that they can do it. And when you don't think you can do something, you feel like you're just lost. You feel like, man, no matter what you say to me or no matter how good it is, I just don't think I can do it. So I brought up the problem and I agitated it a little bit by saying, it sucks, doesn't it? It sucks when you feel that way because it's like you're squished, right? But here's what I found out. And then you give the solution and then you can move on. And since there's 3 of these, there should be 3 of these. And just take those and address those. And then what you always want to do is you want to go into, so what are you going to do, right? So I always say you've got the A-B right here. So you can keep not doing content and you can keep thinking this stuff doesn't work. And then you'll just be like me, the guy that regrets not doing more of this, because the amount of traffic and the amount of value and the amount of customers and the amount of attention that we've gotten by just giving away everything that we know for free has been exponential, past 10x of what any ad has done. And it only costs time. And since I'm doing this stuff all the time anyway, right? Like I can take this training and stick it into my course. I can stick it into my mastermind. I can stick it into my emails. I can stick it into other content. So it's like that one seed that you planted that pays you exponentially with an orchard that has an orchard inside of it. It's the same thing here. Or what you can do is you can start doing content and you can start taking these quick pieces of advice that I gave you and putting them into action, okay? So that's how you do the A-B thing. You're like, this is the sad way. You can keep doing it that way. Or you can go this way and things will be faster, easier, quicker, better, or it'll be slower, harder, more heartbreak, cost more, etc. And then you go, so after you do that, okay, this is your A-B. I suggest making these little cards. So you say, so here's what to expect if you go doing this over here, okay? So you talk about the expectations. Now, you could do this as a sales letter. You could do this as an email. You could do this as a piece of content like with what I'm doing with you right now. You could do this as a short. This is the format right here. Hook them, relate them, break down their beliefs, talk about the problems, agitate them, solve them, give them what option. You always got 2 options, okay? You can go left or right. That's it. Where else do you go, okay? Expectations of doing whichever thing that they chose, and then you put in your call to action. Now, if you're real smart, you'll just put in call to action subtle all throughout here if you're trying to really use content as a way of earning income. Like I'm always like, hey, we talk more about this over at makeonce.com, or hey, we've helped a lot of people get content marketing, bringing them traffic, ones that don't have money and they want to do that. We have free training over at makeonce.com. So you can just enter that stuff real subtle, or you can really work it into the content and be like, so at our site, makeonce.com, what we did was we created a free training that people could opt into. And that's how you can say it too. Just like, see how I worked it in right now? It's that same kind of thing. So you can also say after the expectations, why should I do this? Why is it important for us to do this? Okay. And then simply after that, summarize again what you talked about, okay? You gotta bring up problem, agitate, solve. You gotta get in the boat with people or they're gonna be like, I can't relate with this person. I had the biggest trouble with that. Talk about their options, what those options mean and the expectations of that, and make sure that you're giving people some sort of action. Hey, share this if you like it. Hey, comment down below if this is something that was really helpful for you, or matter of fact, ask me a question so that I have more questions that I can talk about that give me the attraction I need so I can do my 1 to 2 YouTube posts a day that I need to do long form, or my 3 to 5 YouTube shorts that I should be doing, or my 3 to 5 TikToks that I should be doing per day, or my Instagram Reels, 2 to 5 of those per day. And you know what's silly? People look at that and they go, holy F, that is a lot of stuff to do. Not really. If you go back to the beginning of this video, I talked about how one video can become all of these posts. What a lot of people are doing is they're spending so much time, they're working so hard because they're trying to create 1 to 2, 3 to 5, 3 to 5, 2 to 5. No, create one and then have that put together and popped out as a bunch of shorts. Boom, you just exponentially grew with one action. That's how you do it. And then tell them to click, call, go to the website, whatever, okay? So if you like this, subscribe. If you want more of this stuff, then you should definitely like, comment, or click on this, or click like or dislike or what, something to jiggle the algorithm so it shows you more of me, okay? Always give a reason of why people should do stuff because it's a likely reason. It's kind of like that story where the lady, I think they were doing some sort of test where this lady walked, there was a big line to the copier, okay? And stories sell, facts smell, okay? I'm doing a story with you right now. So anyway, this lady, they were doing a test on like influence and stuff like that. If you give a reason for something, it doesn't matter what the reason is. And it's funny because there was a line of people trying to get into the, make a copy. She goes, hey, I've got to make 5 copies because I got to get these copies made. And because she said, because I got to get these copies made, like duh, they let her up in the line. They did the same thing with a guy, okay? So anytime that you're asking people to maybe listen to something or whatever, always give a reason because it's gonna impact more. It's gonna have more, ability to get into their brain and they'll be like, oh, I see why it's important to do this. And that is what you wanna always do. So I would advise you subscribing just because content like this is gonna be coming even more and more and more, okay? Because I love doing it and it's helpful to others and it helps us. Also, you should like this if you like it because then I know that I should create more stuff like this or I shouldn't by the dislikes. And then if you ask questions down below, that's a really good idea because you'll get answers to the questions you have and it gives me ideas for the next video. So I'll see you in the next video.